Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be his what is too big? I got a really short email from a guy who's got a really big problem. I mean, if you've been watching my videos or reading my articles for a while, then you know that a lot of what I talk about is creating attraction, dating, things of that nature, how to attract the women that you like. Well, say you go through that whole process, and then you get into the bedroom, and you're really excited about her, but you're also kind of worried because you got a little bit of a secret. And so then she goes and she pulls down your pants, and then your big elephant trunk penis falls on the floor, and you see her eyes open up real big, and she goes, "You're not sticking that thing in me," because some guys just have a really large penis. And I got a guy here who he wrote in, he said, "Yo, Corey," he says, "I'm a black man and my cock is way too big." So, I mean, some guys have this problem, and it's like, so what do you do in that situation? I mean, how do you handle when you're talking to a woman, and in the back of your mind, you're thinking, God, it's like, can you imagine? You go through the whole process, you have a connection with a woman, you have a really great time on a date, and then just physically, you're just too big for her. And so the question is, like, how do you deal with that? That's kind of an awkward social situation. You start talking to a girl, "Hi, my name's Tom, and I have a really enormous penis, and so if your vagina is like really small or average, then it's best that we don't talk any further because you're not going to be able to handle me." I mean, that's not like the greatest pickup line that you want to use. But, I mean, look at it this way. Because I have one of my really good friend of mine, he had this guy that he's been friends with his whole life, and this guy has like a really big penis. And what was funny is that how he handled it, this is like going back to the 1970s, this guy was a machinist, like a mechanic, he worked on cars and stuff. So he got himself hard, and then he made a plaster cast of his fully erect penis. And then he had it made, I don't know if it was some kind of plastic or something, but he had it made and he had it painted so it looked exactly like the real thing. And he had it made into a shifter knob for his car. And so he took out the car's shifter and then he put this thing on, which was an exact replica of his fully erect penis. And that's what he drove around. And so, I mean, can you imagine, a conversation piece at a first date, you're picking a girl up and, she looks down at this shifter and she sees it's a penis basically. And she's going to, that's the way he dealt with it. He just like, hey, there it is. She could say, you know what, that thing's just really too big. She should get out of the car or whatever, his reputation preceded him. And he also had a reputation. He's known as a very good lover, obviously partially because he was very well endowed. But for some guys, this really is a problem. And what I will say is date women that are big, date Amazon type women, bigger women that are bigger physically because they're obviously going to be able to handle you. But even some smaller women are very, large. And I know from experience, and I'm just an average size guy, but there's some women that I've had sex with over the course of my life where it's like literally like throwing a hot dog down a hallway or throwing a Tic Tac to a whale or swinging a bat in a garage. It's just, like, for me, it was unpleasant, but for, like, a guy like you who's just, like, really enormous, really big, you'd be perfect for a girl like that. And so, the way you can handle it on an online dating profile is you just put it in there. You say something like, "Hey, I'm really kind of embarrassed to admit this, but I got to be honest up front with you before we go any further. I have a really large penis, and so I'm really not physically sexually compatible with small or average sized women. I'm sure you and I would have a great connection, but if you're small or average size, then sex probably wouldn't be very enjoyable for you and I. But I just got to get that out of the way up front." And so if you think you're what I'm looking for emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and of course physically, shoot me an email and we'll meet up for a drink and have a chat. That's all you got to say. It's just you put it in there. I'll put a link here. I wrote an article called a while back, "Attracting Beautiful Women Easily, Creating the Ultimate Online Dating Profile." And so you can just take this little blurb of what I just said about how big you are physically, put it at the end of your profile and put it in there, because if a woman reads it and she's small or average, she's going to go, wow, he's a really handsome dude, but, obviously that's not for me. And women who know that they're big or can handle a bigger man physically, and some women are just that's going to be a fascinating thing. They'll write you about it, go, wow, that's really, they think they can handle you. It's, it's like what some of the guys in the seduction community would call a peacock. It's something that's unique about you. Like this particular friend of one of my close friends who made his dick into a shift knob for his car. Is a conversation piece, and everybody that knew him knew about his car and they knew about his shifter, and so whenever he showed up wherever he was, his reputation preceded him. And so let your friends know, especially like the women that you know in your life. You could just say, if they say, hey, you got a girlfriend, it's like, well, I kind of, it's kind of difficult for me to find women that I'm physically compatible with. And we'll say, well, why? Well, because I have a really big penis and sex is kind of painful for smaller, average-sized women. And let them know about it. It just, because it becomes funny. Let people laugh at your own expense. Because people talk about it, you're comfortable with it, it's not a big deal. And then when you're out, women are like, oh, yeah, so-and-so's, Jake's coming over, and he's got a really big dick, so he needs women to have like a real, they're really big and can handle him. And women will talk about this, and they'll ask you about it, and especially if they think they can handle you, it gives them a reason to approach. They're like, I heard you have like a really big penis. You're like, yeah, you want to see it? You could have a lot of fun with this, so it's nothing to be ashamed of or to feel bad about. It's just God made you this way for a reason. And like I said, there are some women that have a very large vagina and can handle guys that are big like you are, and you just have to let it be known. Let your friends know about this, especially the women that you talk to, and you say it in a way that's just, hey, this is kind of almost like, hey, this is kind of a problem. It's just hard, for me to meet women and just say, hey, I have a really big dick. Will I fit with you? Does that work? That's obviously an awkward thing to say, and so if women know, they'll take pity on you, and they'll think, oh, because women talk about fucking sex all the time. And if they got girlfriends that are complaining about, yeah, most guys are just too small for me, they'll know and they'll hook you up. And so you can have friends hooking you up, or you're in a bar or a nightclub, it'll come up, and they'll go, really? And it's a great icebreaker, and just be proud of it. It's who you are. There's nothing you can do about it. You are the way you are. And the bottom line is, like, through an online dating profile, by specifically stating in there and letting people know about it. And obviously the women that can handle you are going to be very satisfied, because why? Because most guys are not going to be able to pleasure them, and that's the way you have to look at it. Just like what Dr. Wayne Dyer says, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And so if you find this message of value, you can show your appreciation by going down to the Wibbia toolbar, which is at the bottom of your screen if you're watching this video on my website, and click the PayPal donate button and donate any amount that you feel is equal to the value of the information in this video. At the very least, please share this page with all of your friends and family by clicking any one of the social network sharing buttons, which are also located on the Wibbia toolbar at the bottom of your screen. And if you have a question that you want to ask me, or there's a topic that you'd like me to cover in a future video newsletter, just send me 3 or 4 paragraphs max detailing your question or your challenges, and just give me several days to get back to you with a detailed response, because I get a lot of email from the internet, and I got to focus on the emails for my paying phone coaching customers first, but be patient and I will get back to you. And if you'd like to talk to me right away, you can book a paid phone coaching session by clicking the products tab at the top of your screen and just follow the instructions. And I will talk to you soon.